Hello, you're kicking off the 2 days edition of QPVN English News Bulletin. You're with Milinchi and your headlines. Incense offering ceremony held in commemoration of Hung Kings. Ministry of National Defense presents 3,000 field tanks to people of Myanmar. Vietnamese community in Germany to further support Trường Sa or Spratly Islands. An incense offering ceremony was held in the northern Midland province of Phu Tho on Monday, the 10th day of the third lunar month, to commemorate the death anniversary of the nation's legendary founders, the Hung Kings. President LUONG attended the incense offering ceremony. Early in the morning, a delegation of the leaders of the party, state government, National Assembly, Ministry of National Defense, and outstanding people representing Lạc Hồng descendants were present at King Thiên Palace on Nghĩa Lĩnh Mountain within Hung King's temple relic site. There, President LUONG and the delegation respectfully offered incense, flowers, and offerings in commemoration of and gratitude to the Hung Kings. Then, the delegation offered flowers at the relief of Uncle talking to officers and soldiers of the Vanguard Division, where uncles made his teachings. The Hung Kings have established the nation, who must work together to protect it. Moving on to other news. On April the 7th, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính and the high-ranking delegation of the Vietnamese party and government attended the memorial service for former president of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party and former president of Laos, Kham Tây Sivadon, in Vientiane. On this occasion, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính also met with Party General Secretary and President of Laos and Lao Prime Minister. At the morning ceremony, on behalf of the Lao Party, state and people, Lao leaders expressed their sincere thanks to the Vietnamese party, state and people for mourning over the passing of Comrade Sivadon, and especially for sending the first delegation, a high-ranking delegation of the Vietnamese party and state, led by Party General Secretary Tô Lâm, to pay their final respects, and a high-ranking delegation led by Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính to attend the funeral. The passing of Comrade Sivadon is a great loss to the Lao Party, state and people. The Vietnamese leaders and people have also lost a great friend, a close comrade, who always strive for the revolutionary cause of the two neighboring countries of Vietnam and Laos and the special relationship between the two countries. At the meetings with the Lao Party and state leaders, Prime Minister Chính expressed his deep admiration for Comrade Kham Tây Sivadon's tremendous contribution, which has left an indelible mark on the history of Laos construction and development and the revolutionary movement of the three Indo-Chinese countries. The Lao leaders sincerely thanked and showed deep emotion at the condolences extended by the Vietnamese party, state and people of the passing of Comrade Sivadon. The Lao Prime Minister appreciated the valuable and heartfelt support that Vietnam has provided to Laos in its struggle for national independence, as well as in the country's efforts to build, safeguard, and develop the nation over the years. On the afternoon of April the 7th in Vientiane, Laos, a delegation from Military Reason for Command paid a cursory visit on General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party and President of Laos, Thongloun Sisoulith, Chairman of the National Assembly of Laos, Sesomphon Phongvihanh, and General Chesamon Chagnalat, Deputy Prime Minister of the Lao government.
The delegation of Military Region 4 Command expressed deepest condolence to the party, state, army and people of Laos over the passing of General Kham Tây Sivadon, former General Secretary of the Lao People's Revolutionary Party and former President of the Lao People's Democratic Republic. The delegation also extended sincere gratitude to the leadership of Laos for their continued support, which has enabled the military region to successfully carry out the defense diplomacy tasks assigned by the party, state and the Vietnam People's Army. The leadership of Laos praised Military Region 4's contribution to supporting the Lao people, especially in remote areas. These efforts have been the key in driving socio-economic development, improving living conditions, and advancing social welfare.
Implementing the direction of the Minister of National Defense to help the people of Myanmar overcome earthquake consequences, on April the 7th, the Vietnam People's Army Earthquake Search and Rescue Contingent, led by Major General Phạm Văn Tị, Deputy Director of Department of Search and Rescue, General Staff of Vietnam People's Army, presented necessary equipment to the authorities and people of Myanmar. About 10 tons of rescue equipment, including supplies, logistics, barracks, border guards, medical and technical equipment, generators were given to the Department of Fire and Rescue, Ministry of Home Affairs of Myanmar. In addition, the Vietnamese Ministry of National Defense has urgently transferred 30,000 large-sized tanks with more than $81,000 to the people and forces on duty in Myanmar. These equipment and supplies were immediately used for the reconstruction tasks in Myanmar. In addition, the Vietnam People's Army's relief contingent visited the victims rescued by the Vietnamese troops, encouraged and presented meaningful gifts to a quake-hit resident. Among participants in the Vietnam People's Army Search and Rescue Team in support of Myanmar to overcome the consequences of earthquake in Myanmar, there are officers from the Vietnam Department of Peacekeeping Operations. With their experience working in international environment, they have made many contributions to carry out specialized tasks far from the fatherland. Next to me now is Lieutenant Colonel Nguyễn Quốc Khánh, who has a lot of experience in carrying out tasks at United Nations peacekeeping missions. Could you please tell me how your accumulated experiences have helped you in the search and rescue work this time? It's worth highlighting the importance of international cooperation in this operation. As we all know, right at this moment, there are 15 search and rescue teams from different countries. Our experience working in UN peacekeeping missions, also in multinational environments, has been extremely helpful. It has allowed us to advise our team leaders on how to coordinate effectively, as well as how to take advantage of each other's experiences. Typically, as we know, 2 days ago, thanks to the international coordination between Vietnamese and Turkish search and rescue teams and the local rescue forces, we successfully saved a 26-year-old man. Our spirit is always to rely on the people. We get the information from local authorities and residents, which helps us to understand their needs. This information is essential for us to advise our team leaders on the work of supporting the local people. Through joint missions like these, what experiences would be accumulated to serve the implementation of peacekeeping operations in the future? When we operate in such an environment, our self-reliance, self-sufficiency, self-assurance of logistics, equipment, as well as commanding and management ability must be at a very high level, so we get experience in commanding and deploying troops for missions in the field. Coming up next, Q1 GDP growth hits record height in 5 years. Vietnamese community in Germany to further support Trường Sa, Australia Islands. According to data released by the General Statistics Office, GDP in the first quarter is estimated to have increased by 6.93% of the same period last year, the highest growth rate in the first quarter recorded in the past 5 years. This shows that the economy is on the path to recovery and steady acceleration after difficult periods. Meanwhile, the agriculture, forestry, and fishery sector increased by 3.74%, contributing 6.09% to the total value added of the economy. The Industrial Production Index is estimated to have increased by 7.8% over the same period, the highest level in the first quarter since 2020. The growth of the trade and service sector recorded a very high increase of 7.7%, which is attributed to high consumer demand during the Lunar New Year and remarkable rise in international arrivals. The total import and export total reached $202.5 billion, up 13.7% year-on-year. Recently, the Trường Sa Club in Germany held a gathering in Berlin to celebrate 8 years of its activities in coordinating and spreading love for the sea and islands among overseas Vietnamese. The president of the Cheung Sa Club shared that over the past 8 years, the club has organized various meaningful activities to support soldiers and residents on the Cheung Sa or Spratly Islands, including annual donations worth nearly $8,000. It has also co-hosted seminars, art exhibitions, and writing and drawing contests on the themes of the sea and islands, while incorporating island-related contents into Vietnamese language classes in Berlin. Speaking at the event, Ambassador Vũ Quang Minh praised the club's contribution over the past years, noting their significant material and spiritual support for those stationed in Cheung Sa. He also acknowledged the club's efforts to nurture and spread patriotism, national pride, and the love for national sea and islands in the Vietnamese community in Germany. Following President Ho Chi Minh's teaching, the youth have always played a vanguard role, willing to reach the most difficult areas of the country. In the resistant wars for national independence and unification, generations of Vietnamese youth decided to pause their schooling and put their dreams aside to join the military and devote their youth to the country. They brought with them a strong belief in the party, revolutionary ideals, and the spirit of determined to sacrifice for the national independence, creating an immortal epic at Quang Tri Ancient Citadel and throughout the fierce battlefields. Today, the war has gone, yet the memories of the fight still remain intact on veterans. It is the comradeship, the pride, the desire for peace, and the spirit of tireless dedication with the aim of stirring up and passing on them to today's generation. It's so touched with thinking about my fallen comrades. The days living with my comrades on the battlefield have passed 50 years, but for me, they remain fresh. And the moment came unexpectedly. The memories of 35 years ago have come back. 35 years still bring tears, comrades, many of you did not return. Dear mother, I've embarked on the field trip for a month and fierce fighting with the enemy for nearly a month. So far, I have stayed strong and prepared to perform my combat duties in the battlefield. Grandpa, it is the letter you sent to great-grandmother a long time ago, isn't it? Were you afraid of joining the military? My generation was ready to sacrifice ourselves for the national independence. The fear was overshadowed by pride, determination, and the willingness to sacrifice for the fatherland, as I wrote in my letter. In 1972, young man Trần Khánh Đức paused his schooling and entered the fierce battlefield at Quang Tri Ancient Citadel with an unshakable spirit, the youth ready to go anywhere, do anything when the fatherland needs. That is not only the voluntary spirit of young people, but also a brilliant symbol of patriotism, faith in the party, and enthusiasm of Vietnamese youth in response to the call of the fatherland. We stay ready to join the military when the fatherland needs. I don't even remember the faces of my comrades, as they could have carried out missions today, but they could have died tomorrow. However, we brimmed with confidence and hope for peace and national independence. The youth burning in the hearts of revolutionary ideals was not afraid of danger and ready to embark on a challenging path. Each of their pioneering steps was like an oath to the fatherland, and each drop of blood shocked into the motherland was proof of the spirit of determined to sacrifice for the national independence. We shared dry food and a sip of water to continue the fight. On the occasion of the National Day, September the 2nd, we received joyful news that President Tôn Đức Thắng had sent gifts to the soldiers of Quang Tri. It was nothing more than a piece of high candy. However, it was very possible that some soldiers had already sacrificed themselves when transporting the candy. Under the leadership of the party, they wrote heroic history with blood and tears. The image of youth union members and young people crossing the rain of bombs and bullets, carrying the undying belief of national independence, has become an immortal symbol of the strength of Vietnamese youth. The war ended, the young man Trần Cảnh Đức continued to devote himself. He embarked on the new journey, the journey of knowledge. With the still spirit of a soldier, he diligently studied, researched, and became a teacher, an inspiration for today's young generation. I became professor at Hiroshima University, Japan, so when I go abroad, I also bring the mindset of a Vietnamese person and bring Vietnam's knowledge to the world. We must preserve and foster these good virtues, especially the young generation inside and outside the country, to be worthy of the sacrifices of many previous generations and the price of peace that we are enjoying. From the battlefield to the latter hall, whether in Vietnam or Japan, Associate Professor Dr. Trần Cảnh Đức always puts faith in the party, constantly strives to contribute, and that spirit is an internal flame that lights up the hearts of every young person today.
It is the end of the English News Bulletin today. You'll watch our news again at QPVN.vn. Goodbye and see you next time.